According to the uh, objective research goals, uh, different research can be categorized into exploratory, descriptive, correlational, or explanatory. So I will begin now with exploratory research, and this intends to explore the research question looking at uh, by framing the research question and identify the important aspects of that research problem. So it doesn't offer a conclusive solution to the research problem, but it merely wants to map out the most important or the glaring aspects of the research, and it's usually conducted to uh, to define uh, a certain problem or a new problem that hasn't been studied yet. Okay, so most of the time, yung exploratory research po would take an existing theory and apply it to this new problem, or if it's totally new, we can deduct the theory from the problem. So exploratory research is a very important and a very basic type of research. Wala po tayo ditong sinosolve na problem, but we're just looking at the research question closer para po makita yung important aspects. So data collection is often in the form of unstructured survey and interviews, because exploratory research is most often used in psychology or market research or in education para po uh, makita yung different angles of the problem. Okay? Next one is the descriptive research, and this often builds on the exploratory research. I'm sorry, this is a typo. This because when you have exploratory research, we have the data gathered from exploratory research. It can point out to the most important aspects. So parang uh, the exploratory research would tell you to look at this part, this aspect, and this aspect. And yun po yung magiging focus nung descriptive research nyo, which is like a step further in the progression. And this is used to describe the characteristics of a population to look at it more closer, and the phenomenon being studied. So the research methods include surveys, case studies, observations, and measurements. So parang if you're studying the different biodiversities, so you can look at a certain plant species, and you can collect data on that on different in different settings and compare that. So ang main tool po for descriptive research is descriptive statistics, o yung very familiar po tayo about like the mean, the standard deviation, because this will give you like the um quantitative data, or it will describe your quantitative data. And yun nga po, parang this descriptive statistics would be the workhorse for presenting your data. Okay. The next one is the correlational research, and this is a step further uh, from descriptive research, because now you are trying to recognize patterns between your variables or yung factors mo, and this can provide an evidence, but not directly like claiming a causality, but it will provide some evidence of that or lack thereof among the variables. And you can collect first-hand or archival data here. So basically, this is first-hand is primary research. Archival data is secondary research, because you're already like taking data from previous studies. And we also make use of statistical tools to analyze your data here, like the correlation coefficients and well, regression analysis para po to analyze and present your data in a sensible or logical fashion. Next slide. And explanatory research now would be the highest order research where you identify the extent and nature of the cause and effects relationship. So ito pong explanatory research would be yung very familiar sa atin, which is the experimental research, because here uh, you make a very ordered experiments and try to control all the factors of the experiment to uh, prove or disprove a certain cause and effect relationship. Okay, and data collection is in the form of experiments, as I've mentioned. And the essential features of this experimental research is that there is a cause and it must precede the effect. Hindi yung parang may observation na pero wala ka pang uh, ina-apply na factor or variable. So X na yon. So dapat the cause will always precede the effect, and the variation of the variable must be systematic or um, very much controlled at the very least. Kasi we're trying to get rid of this interfering variables, or what I've mentioned in course number 3, this confounding variables na when you're trying to apply a certain variable or a factor, uh, you must make sure that yung let's say you're trying to um, study the effect of temperature on the reaction. So temperature lang yung tinitingnan natin. So wala nang ibang factors like pressure na pwedeng makaapekto dun sa resulta mo. So you must at least make sure that yung variable na lang na yon ang present and uh, nakakaapekto or that can affect the system. Okay? So the next slide is like a diagram of this progression. So we have the exploratory research at the very bottom because it gives the lay of the land, if you will. And from the exploratory research, you can try to look at a certain important aspect and derive a descriptive research on that aspect. And the next step would be the correlational research, where you now try to like deduce a certain correlation or relationship between your variables. And the peak what uh, the peak here would be the explanatory research, where you now try to experiment on the cause and effect relationship of your variables. So ito yung experimental research that we are all very familiar of. Uh, and I would just like to point out here na ito pong lahat ng research na to, nilagay ko lang po siya as like this progression, but you can always pick one of this depending on your circumstances or capabilities. But for high school students or college students, uh, I think exploratory research would be a good place to start because ito po yung pinaka madali, because it's just all about data gathering and trying to uh, like explore the research question and not trying to prove anything. Kasi yung highest order research, which is explanatory research, is like the realm of like experts and not merely experts, but siya yung pinakamahirap kasi when you're trying to do experiments, kailangan very controlled yung environment conditions. And right now, hindi po natin magagawa yun because we don't have much access to the lab. And so, descriptive, exploratory research would be like a good place to go.